From a so-called Minecraft clone to the 4th highest peaked players on Steam, Terraria is truly something special. Hi everyone, my name is Adzi and welcome to a little discussion about Terraria. Subscribe if you like what you see. Now, on to the video. I remember seeing the first trailer back in 2011 and it blew me away. It captured the same essence that Minecraft did 2 years prior. The main feeling was curiosity. What was that enemy? How do you get this item? How do you summon that boss? All of these questions had answers that I couldn't wait to find out. Most of these questions were met with death. A lot of it. But it was all part of the process. I wanted this game so bad that I even pirated it. I know, I'm a feckin' scumbag, but I was only 13, I had no money. But don't worry, I bought the game later on that year on Steam and never ever looked back. 235 hours later, yes, that is over a week of just playing Terraria, and that's only the PC, I can say that this is easily in my top 5 games ever. Who would have thought that 9 years later this game would peak with nearly 365,000 concurrent players and over 30 million copies sold? The initial reaction was that it was a 2D Minecraft, but once you jump in you realise that it is a completely different game. Yes, they're both sandbox that you can mould into whatever you like, but where Minecraft boasts infinite worlds, Terraria has large worlds that have plenty of different biomes, each with their own weapons, items and armour and bosses to fight. Something that Minecraft only implemented years after this. Terraria focused more on combat and bosses and it felt like it had more direction and purpose. Now, don't take this wrong, I love Minecraft just as much and its design philosophy is equally as compelling. As time went on, more and more content was added, to the point where today, with the Journey's End release, makes Terraria one of the most content-rich sandbox games you could ever play. Launching with 3 bosses, it just felt like an epic adventure. You start off exploring caves, upgrading your armour and weapons very slowly, until eventually you fight your first boss, the Eye of Cthulhu. It's such a tense fight when you don't know what you're doing, but when you finally beat him, your eyes are open to the potential this game has. From there, you upgrade your gear to fight the ultimate boss, Skeletron. The amount of times I died to Skeletron is quite embarrassing, but getting the reward of exploring the dungeon afterwards was great. The reward system in general is very, very well implemented. From minute 1 you have so much to work towards. Firstly, you have your typical iron, silver and gold armour, but the fun comes in the boss and biome specific armour and weapon sets. You can farm bosses for cool sets of armour, or get items in, say, the jungle biome to make armour specific to the biome. All of which are spec'd towards separate stats like range damage, normal defense or magic attack. Now, there is still so much more to talk about. The initial version of the game had a lot of content, but it didn't stop there. The game just has a certain something to it, like a magical feeling. It's very hard to explain, but I'm sure many of you have had the same experience. Maybe not with Terraria, but with other games. It's one of the games that if I could wipe my memory and re-experience it, I would in a heartbeat. The excitement of logging on and going that extra bit further in the cave, seeing what new enemies await, or fighting the Eye of Cthulhu for the 11th time and just barely beating him. Every little thing you do leads on to another really interesting adventure. After killing the Eye of Cthulhu, a meteor hits the ground and brings a new enemy and ore that can make cool weapons and armour. An experience I'll never forget is trying to find the underground jungle. It felt like I was mining for hours and you're certainly not disappointed when you find it. I know someone who got very excited when they found it. It's just something you have to experience. If you're a veteran of this game, then you'll understand what I mean, but you just have to play this game. Before we talk about all the updates and how they improved the game over the years, we can't neglect the Terraria community, and it's one of the main reasons that it has the sticking power that it does. Growing up watching YouTubers like Ymir and Hero was great. They made such fantastic informative videos and brought the community together in one place. Scrolling on the Terraria subreddit, looking at all the wikis, the list goes on and on. It has a really dedicated fanbase, something that is a hallmark of a fantastic game. You just have to Google Terraria community and you'll be bombarded with options. Over the years the community created some really fantastic projects. Some were interesting builds that took ages to make, and others were competitive game modes like Capture the Gem, something that devs officially implemented in later patches. And speaking of patches, the devs have been so active over the past 9 years. The reason I'm making this video is because of the Journey's End patch being released recently. Adding over 800 new items, new mini biomes, the patch notes are just crazy long. And that's not to mention golf. Such a random addition, but a cool one nonetheless. This epitomises the blood, sweat and tears that have been poured into this game since its release. The initial release was full to the brim with content, but not too long after that we got hard mode, and holy Jesus did this add so much content. extra bosses, enemies, items and biomes, the whole lot. It basically added a new game after you beat the original. Then after that, there were more bosses, biomes and seasonal events. The game felt alive and it was constantly giving you little pointers on what to do next. Just little things like text prompts on the screen that piqued your curiosity and had you thinking about it until something happened. It's this kind of design philosophy that I find makes the game as compelling as it is. It feels like the world reacts to your presence. New NPCs moving in because of something you did, or the whole world changing because you killed a wall of flesh are just a few examples of this. Now, Journey's End has given me a new appreciation for this game. The new difficulty takes me back to 2011 when I struggled to fight the bosses. In recent years I've been able to kill Skeletron and the Wall of Flesh within a few days, but after hopelessly fighting Skeletron for the third time last night, I realise I have to go back to the drawing board and improve my gear to fight him. Usually the mini shark and some decent armour make Skeletron pretty easy, but the extra damage he deals is crazy, and if you get caught out by his attacks you'll be wiped out in no time. I accidentally summoned Queen Bee and got my arse handed to me. It feels like 13-year-old me trying to fight these bosses and failing miserably. I said at the top that if I could experience Terraria again, I would do it in a heartbeat. And while I still have a lot of knowledge about this game, feeling afraid of enemies and the damage they deal takes me back to when I would strategically approach every enemy encounter, instead of just running in, flailing my arms around and somehow surviving. Now, the final part of this video is when it gets a bit sappy. I got the idea for this video because I genuinely loved this game, and it brought me countless great memories, some of which are my fondest in my whole gaming history. You know when you have them games that remind you of a certain time in your life, and it brings you back nothing but fond memories. Some examples of this are Majora's Mask, Jak and Daxter and Minecraft. The list is just too long to talk about here. I can remember playing this game all day during the summer. Waking up at 12 PM, playing till 6 AM the next morning. Very healthy, I know, but it was just that special. Whole summers were spent playing this game and I don't regret it at all. It's sad that it's coming to an end. Terraria 2 was announced, but seems to have been cancelled. But I can't wait to see what Relogic come up with next. All I can say is that I'll be there day one to buy it and hopefully recapture the same feelings that Terraria did 9 years ago. Starting out as some Minecraft clone, then turning into one of my all-time favourites. Who would have known? All I can say is that I'm glad I spent $250 on it back in 2011. I haven't even scraped the surface with the content added in this update, so I'm going to play some more now. Let me know what your favourite memories of Terraria are in the comments below. I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for listening to me ramble about Terraria. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It really means a lot. And I'll see you all on the next video.